and welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning, and happy to be joined by Courtney Brown and Aaron Brown, no relation to each other, but both very much brother and sister in this wonderful effort with Habitat for Humanity. And good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Aaron, you are here now as the new, tell us what your title is.
Director of Neighborhood Investment. So what that means is property acquisition, whether it be a vacant parcel or a potential rehab, looking at neighborhoods of investment in the 5 counties that we're in.
And those counties now
Those counties are now, at the beginning of this year, which is now coming to the end of the year, Stark, Carroll, Jefferson, Harrison, and Tuscarawas County.
So you definitely encircle our listening area, and hopefully we'll get you lots of good volunteers and
that would be fantastic.
Help and finances before this half hour is over. Courtney, your role with Habitat is?
I'm the Director of Family Partnership, which means I have the wonderful privilege to work with all our families, get them qualified, get them trained through the partnership, and then eventually handle their mortgages on the back end.
I think it's very interesting what brought each of you to Habitat for Humanity. I want to take a moment and just talk about your backgrounds. Aaron, very interesting. You are here via LA, a little acting in the background.
I've been an actor for quite a while. That's how I met my wife, and we've been actors for 25 years. And when we graduated from high school, as high school sweethearts, we decided, let's go try this acting thing. So we moved out to Los Angeles, lived there for about 7 years, and got pregnant with the first grandchild in the family, and everybody lives here. So we said we need to come back. It's the right thing to do. So we decided to move back, and it's been now about a decade since we're back.
And on behalf of your families, thank you. I know I know that they really appreciate that.
Yes, they do.
Do you find yourself using any of that? Because I've always found that nothing is ever wasted. You draw from those past experiences, even though they seem not related. But do you find using that in what you're doing now?
There's a huge comfortability. Things like right now, we're talking on the radio, it's okay, and being able to present in front of people and knowing, being able to pick up signs from other people as you're giving a presentation, those type of things are just really great. And being able to kind of click on and click off when you need to, it's been really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Courtney, also an interesting path that led you here. Tell us a little bit about that.
I went to school in Cleveland, Baldwin Wallace University, went to study chemistry, and started serving in community service throughout college, and then eventually served at my church after college. And I went into healthcare administration, and while it's a great industry for those who are called to that, I was just feeling pulled to do other things. And ministry really opened my eyes to caring for families and people who have needs that are tangible, that we know other people can help them with. So in that time, I just started to pray that God would give me an opportunity to go somewhere where I could use those gifts and that concern and help families get to a level of life that they're seeking.
Mm-hmm. For each of you, would you call now working at Habitat a calling?
Oh, without question.
Yes, definitely.
Aaron, what led you?
I was kind of a combination of two things. I was helping pastor a church in conjunction with my full-time job, which was working for another nonprofit in communities. And so that kind of bridged both. And what Habitat allows me to do is a full-time ministry and a full-time job that encompass themselves together. So you're able to help people in a different way, and being able to speak when needed very freely about Christ, and having those relationships, the community, it all comes together. And if I do a beeline from the past 10 years, I look at this point now going, everything's been laid out, and God has totally brought me to this point. So absolutely, it's definitely a calling.
Mm-hmm. What drew you, Courtney?
I think my desire to be a servant, it gave me an opportunity to use my gifts in the way of being a servant to others, and really just lifting people up and allowing them to see what God has in store for them. So I think this ministry is that, the whole hand up and not a handout mentality, the whole let me pull you along as you go for what it is that you desire in life is something that I truly believe in. And I believe people have done that for me. Family, friends, professors, people have dragged me along and said, I know there's potential there. Let me just give you the opportunity to do that. So giving back and being a servant in that way is really blessing me. And I'm learning so much from people and experiences. It helps me do my job just to interact with people from all walks of life. Different faiths, different races, different ages, different contexts, and it's just people. And that's really what I believe ministry is all about, is just learning how to connect with people as you connect to God.
It's so great getting to know each of you and your hearts for the ministry and your hearts for the people that you are helping out. So thanks for sharing a little bit about yourselves. Now let's talk about Habitat.
Sure.
Just such an interesting idea. Let's dispel the myths. You are not giving away free houses to anyone.
No.
If you're listening, no.
Tell us, what are you doing?
I'm going to let Courtney handle that.
Okay.
Sure. So what we do is give families an opportunity to purchase a mortgage with 0% interest on their loan. So there's a scripture that says when you give your poor person a loan, you charge him no interest. And that's what Habitat was based around. So families come to us with the ability to pay. That's their first area of qualification. They have to show that they have a steady income, usually between the 30 to 80% of the area median income. So depending on family size, some people qualify financially and some don't. After that, we go for need assessment. We see what is going on in your current situation. Could it be that there's overcrowding, substandard structurally, or just high rent? Because now families are paying rents for properties that are falling apart, and our mortgages are cheaper than that. So we look into that. And then lastly, they come to us with the willingness to partner, which means they are ready to get to work, and they give at least 250 hours of sweat equity, building other people's houses, building their own house, and then taking several classes that will help them be good homeowners and grow into that area that they're looking to grow in. So that's what we do. So we sell them a house with 0% interest on their mortgage after they've put in what we call the sweat equity. And it's a great method. It works. It's a great cycle.
I love the, Erin, when you gave us a tour, and we got to see the invisible house. That I guess it would be a visible house. The wall is invisible, but you're getting to see the inner workings and to see everything that goes into that home. Your average everyday homeowner could stand to learn quite a bit about how to fix some of these things and how these things work. So actually, people going through this program have a leg up on an awful lot of us about how to fix some things. First of all, any thought of letting the rest of us take these classes?
Yes, it's definitely a thought. Anytime that Courtney or myself have given a tour, we hear, I want to learn that. I want to know that.
Yeah.
And so we do eventually want to open that up to the public. Not right now, but definitely down the road. We want to be able to do that. And it's a 5-week course where they're learning everything from making sure you put the furnace filter in properly, because that's always a thing. What's that airflow? And how to repair drywall and paint and change the plumbing. Those are really important necessities when you're a homeowner. So to answer the question, yes, we do want to be able to do that. I would say for the listeners, just to keep listening, keep an ear out for that. I think one of the first things we'd like to do is open it up for all women to be able to do that. And potentially they could be a part of a women's build, which we're looking to do in 2016, so they might be able to participate in the homeowner maintenance education and be a part of a build too. So those are the things we're thinking of doing.
That's fantastic, because I know personally I would not want to live in a house that I helped build. So, but I'd be happy to come along and paint something. But to actually get the classes where I could know something about plumbing and do something constructive towards that would be pretty awesome. Right now, the procedure is we try to fix it ourselves and then end up calling someone who does it professionally.
That's correct, and a lot of people do that. Or in our case, with the partner families, they are consistently calling a landlord. Sometimes the landlord doesn't take care of it, so they're kind of trapped. So we want to avoid that. When they're in a new home, it's your responsibility. This is what you've worked for this. You're going to own this home. You need to learn how to take care of it, so you don't have to continue to call someone. So being able to do those things. Now, that doesn't happen for a while. These houses are brand new, so
Right.
in the long run, they're going to know how to do it. And we've heard several instances where they have learned something, and then they go home and they went and fixed it at their own house. That's a rental. So they're like, look, and they come back and they always say, look, I did this. I learned
Wow.
this. I went and did this.
The whole concept of I did this is so great. Just watching a ribbon cutting, I was speaking to you before we went on the air. It's so emotional to see a family taking that key, opening the front door, walking in, the dignity that a husband feels for caring for his family in such a way and be able to provide a home for his family and take care of his wife and children that way. The dignity that a mother feels that she's able to care for her children. I think that you just get such a sense of the connection of the family and the sense of achievement and I did this not without an awful lot of help and not without the Lord's help and not without Habitat for Humanity, but as a community coming together, that's got to mean so much to both of you, getting to work with those families and see that crossing over the threshold feeling. Just describe that for us.
Sure. What is wonderful about dedications and those ribbon cutting ceremonies is we know the people. We know their backstory. We know where they've come from. We know what they've done. We know what this is going to mean for their family. And when you put it all, and doing throughout the build, everybody's just trying to get the build done. Everybody's working together, and all of those things, and using volunteers to build a house. I mean, that's crazy, but it works for Habitat. And at the very end, saying, "Wow, your future is so bright because of what you've done, and the sweat equity that you've put in of your own time." And for the children that are going to be living in that environment, it's going to be safe. You know that their future is very, very bright as well. So that's when I always go to a dedication. I'm looking at these families going, wow, this is only God could put that all together.
Yes.
And bring it together in that way. And the great part, and you're absolutely right, Aaron, is that there are different levels of I did this. There are constant levels of I did this throughout. And I did this. I pounded that nail the first time. It's simple, but that's an I did this. It's I completed this class and saved the money that I said I was going to save. I did this. I came on Saturday morning and I finished my first day of sweat equity. And so there are levels. We just finished a group of families who just finished their classes. And no, they're not building yet, but they did that. So just every level, and we try to celebrate every level of achievement, because why not? And that just gives you the desire to keep pushing forward. I did this so I can do the next thing. I did that so I can do the next thing. So as Aaron was saying, when they get the keys, we're looking at, there's a next thing for you. And yes, it's not here in our building, but you've done all of this. Go do your next thing and do it well.
And not just the families, also the volunteers have got to feel that way.
Absolutely.
And actually you too. We're speaking with Courtney Brown and Aaron Brown, both from Habitat for Humanity. How many counties now?
We're in 5.
5 different counties. And if you are hearing us at this moment, we are in your county. And I love that Habitat makes no bones about not just being a faith-based organization, but being a Christian organization. Can you talk about that a little bit?
It is. It's a common ground ministry. So anyone, regardless of faith or lack of faith, no faith, can be a part of the ministry. And that's what makes this so good. It is founded on Christian principles. It has since the very, very beginning. The way it was founded almost now 45 years ago.
Wow.
It's been around. So that's what brings everybody together. And there's a common thing that we can talk about, which is Christ, and be unapologetic about it.
We're going to find out more in a few minutes. Stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.